I'm a young mother-in-law. My son got married around 4 years ago. They have been trying for a long time to have a child, but she is infertile. We get along like oil and water, to make it simple. The best way I have found to deal with her is to keep topics really neutral. We are basically opposites in everything. The concept of opposites attract isn't true in this case. Here is my biggest issue with her. If she sees me doing something she doesn't like or doesn't approve of, she will drop the line of, "You better change or you won't see the grandkids." When it came out that she was infertile, it got so much worse. Some examples. I was eating junk food late at night and the line came up. I mentioned liking private school more than public, and again that line pops up. I mentioned I was going to vote for the Green Party, and that line came up. It happens every time. I've already talked to my son about it and talked to her directly. Now we were out at dinner and I was paying. The service wasn't the best, so I left a 15% tip instead of 20% or higher. She saw it and made the comment, "You should be more generous or you won't see my kids." I snapped and told her, "What grandkids, since you aren't giving me any?" She started crying. My son is pissed, and I'm wondering if I should apologize. Also, I know I will get comments about adoption or IVF. They are against both of those, since IVF isn't natural and adoption is buying a child. Those are their words. Now for a few comments for the first update. Comment 1. Not the idiot if she wasn't being such a jerk and so stupidly manipulative about kids she knows she can't even have. Then she wouldn't have gotten such a response back. You know you're infertile. You know kids are a low chance, and still you want to use that as your way of manipulating someone into acting how you want them to act. That just seems unintelligible to me, and like you're asking for a reality check, which is exactly what OP gave her. Was OP's comment mean? Yeah, but it was also a reality check that daughter-in-law needed to hear because of how she was acting. So in my opinion, OP gets a pass because she never would have made that comment if the daughter-in-law wasn't being such an insufferable, manipulative shrew. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Kids are an off-limits topic to most, simply out of respect. Her constant bringing up the fact is how this topic even got put on the table. It's also fine to not like someone. What is not fine is throwing our arbitrary and meaningless threats covered in cheeky one-liners versus setting real boundaries if she felt like you were so awful. It is entirely possible to have neutral relationships where you spend time with your son and her only on special occasions where everyone can remain civil. Marrying or birthing someone does not mean you'll love and connect with every single person in their lives, and that's perfectly fine. Comment 3. Not the idiot. She should not be holding grandkids as a bargaining chip just because she does not agree with you. Your son has to put a stop to this because if and when you do have grandkids, this relationship is not healthy. She is going through a lot and should speak with a therapist about her feelings instead of lashing out towards you. I do think you should apologize as it is a sensitive topic for her, but she is the jerk here. Now for the first update, so it's been a roller coaster. After the dinner incident, I gave myself some time to process and took to heart some advice given here about empathy. Then I decided to reach out to my son and his wife. I invited them to my house, neutral territory, and I made their favourite meal. When they arrived, I could tell they were on edge and expecting another confrontation, but that's not what I wanted. So I took a deep breath and then I apologized. I told my daughter-in-law that I was sincerely sorry for using her infertility as a weapon. I acknowledged the pain I must have caused her and confessed my own fears and frustrations. I promised that from now on I would only offer support and love. The air in the room was tense. My son held his wife's hand tightly, and I could see her trying to hold back tears. After what felt like an eternity, she spoke. She confessed that the thought of not being able to give my son a child had been eating at her and was causing her immense pain. She said the comment at the dinner was a manifestation of her fear, her grief, and her anger towards herself, not a control mechanism as I'd thought. We all cried that night. We shared our fears and frustrations. We talked about topics we'd never tackled before, and for the first time we really listened to each other. Over the following months, our relationship started to improve. It wasn't easy, and it took a lot of work from all of us, but we began to understand each other better and learned to communicate effectively. About a few months ago, my son and his wife surprised me with some news. After many discussions and counselling sessions, they've decided to look into surrogacy as an option. They said they were finally ready to explore new possibilities and thanked me for being supportive, especially my daughter-in-law. Just last week, they introduced me to their chosen surrogate, a lovely woman who's already a mother herself. Seeing my son and his wife looking so hopeful and happy was truly heartwarming. They're on their way to becoming parents, and I'm going to be a grandmother soon. In retrospect, I wish we'd had these conversations sooner, but I'm glad we eventually did. This journey has taught me a lot about empathy, patience, and the power of open and honest communication. I'm grateful we've moved past the resentment and are now looking forward to a future filled with love and understanding. Now for a few comments before the next update. Comment 1. You're not the idiot. It takes a lot of maturity and self-awareness to apologize and acknowledge the hurtful words you used against your son and daughter-in-law. It's important to recognize the impact of our actions on others, especially when it comes to sensitive topics like infertility. The fact that you were able to have an emotional conversation and improve communication shows growth on your part. It's great to see that the couple is considering surrogacy as an option, and introducing the chosen surrogate to you is a positive step towards building hope and happiness. Keep working on empathy, patience, and open communication in order to maintain a healthy relationship with your family. Comment 2. Not the idiot. While it's never easy to admit our mistakes, you showed a lot of courage by apologizing to your son and daughter-in-law for using her infertility against them. It's clear that this confrontation led to a deep, emotional conversation that ultimately improved communication and understanding within your family. It's heartwarming to hear that the couple is now considering surrogacy as an option and that you have been introduced to the chosen surrogate. This experience has taught you valuable lessons about empathy, patience, and the importance of open communication. Your willingness to grow and learn from this situation is commendable. Comment 3. You're the idiot. Despite the positive outcome of improved communication and understanding, it's hard to ignore the fact that you resorted to using your daughter-in-law's infertility against her during the confrontation. While it's great that you eventually apologized and took responsibility for your actions, the damage may have already been done. It's important to remember that infertility is an incredibly sensitive topic, and using it as a weapon in an argument is never acceptable. The fact that the couple is considering surrogacy shows their resilience and willingness to move forward, but it doesn't erase the hurt caused by your words. It's crucial to continue working on empathy, patience, and open communication to rebuild trust and ensure a healthy relationship moving forward. Now, for the second update, the suspense started brewing the day we met the surrogate, a bubbly woman named Clara. She was warm, kind, and charming, which made it hard to not like her. But something about her story didn't add up. She mentioned that she'd already carried 2 surrogate pregnancies, but seemed vague about the details. I brushed it off at first, attributing the inconsistencies to nerves or forgetfulness. One day, while dropping off some groceries at my son and his wife's house, I noticed a stack of bills on their kitchen table, all addressed to Clara. This struck me as odd. Why would their surrogate be receiving mail at their address? I couldn't help myself. I glanced at the topmost bill. It was from a fertility clinic, a late notice for a payment of $20,000. My heart dropped. I confronted my son about it, but he dismissed me, saying they were just helping Clara manage her finances. His anger flared when pressed further, accusing me of meddling and causing unnecessary drama. So I backed off, but not before vowing to get to the bottom of it. In the weeks following, Clara's behavior started to change. She was less cheerful. Her usual vibrancy dimmed. When I asked about it, she brushed me off, a stark contrast from her earlier openness about her life. It felt like she was hiding something. Then came the day of the pregnancy test. We were all anxiously waiting for the news, hoping for the best. The doctor came out, his face a neutral mask, and announced that Clara wasn't pregnant. The room fell silent. I could see the disappointment etched into my son's face and could only imagine the heartache his wife was feeling. Clara, however, looked more relieved than upset. Somehow it seemed as if she knew this was coming. We left the clinic in a cloud of despair, but I couldn't shake off my suspicions. As we prepared to navigate this painful setback, my mind was filled with questions. Why wasn't Clara pregnant? Why was she so evasive? And what about that overdue payment? I knew I had to tread lightly, especially considering the volatile state of emotions. But something wasn't right. The answers were out there, and I was determined to find them. Little did I know this was just the beginning of a whirlpool of secrets and lies that would soon come crashing down. Now, for a few comments before the next update. Comment 1. You're the idiot. It's clear that you are being overly paranoid and judgmental towards Clara without any concrete evidence. Just because you found bills addressed to her at your son's house doesn't automatically mean she's up to something suspicious. Jumping to conclusions and confronting her without solid proof is uncalled for. Instead of assuming the worst, try having an open and honest conversation with Clara to address your concerns and give her a chance to explain herself. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your suspicions are completely valid given the strange behavior and the unsettling discovery of bills addressed to Clara at your son's house. It's important to trust your instincts and protect your family's interests. Clara's change in behavior and the relief she showed when the pregnancy test came out negative adds more fuel to the fire. You have every right to uncover the truth and ensure that your son and his wife are not being taken advantage of. Keep digging for answers and don't let anyone dismiss your concerns. Comment 3. Everyone sucks here. While it's understandable that you are concerned about your son and his wife's well-being, your determination to uncover the truth seems to border on obsession. It's important to approach the situation with a level head and gather more evidence before jumping to conclusions. Confronting Clara without solid proof may lead to unnecessary conflict and strain your relationship with your son and his wife. Instead, consider discussing your concerns with them and working together to find a resolution that benefits everyone involved. Remember, communication is key. Now for the third update. Over the last few weeks, things took a turn for the worse. The atmosphere in the house had become increasingly tense and uncomfortable. Clara, the woman who was supposed to bring joy to our lives, had now become a source of constant anxiety and fear. Things started going downhill when I innocently commented on Clara's smoking habit. She took it personally, and things only escalated from there. My son and his wife were torn between understanding Clara's rights and maintaining a healthy environment for the unborn child. One day, to exacerbate the situation further, I walked in on Clara with a gentleman caller. He was unknown to us, and what was more alarming, he seemed to be a rough character. He was overly familiar with Clara, leaving the room quickly when I walked in, a vague look of guilt flickering on his face. I decided to confront Clara, but she brushed it off as an old friend visiting. My gut didn't believe her, but my son and his wife seemed to take her word for it. They let the issue slide, not wanting to stress Clara. I, however, was not convinced. A few days later, my son came across some disturbing evidence. He found a pile of cash hidden in Clara's room. The amount was substantial, and it raised some serious questions. This discovery, coupled with the memory of the man, sent chills down our spines. What was she involved in? We decided to confront her again, this time with the evidence. Clara, however, was gone. She had left a note saying she was sorry, but it would be best for everyone if she left. There was no mention of the money or the man. You could cut the silence that followed with a knife. We are now left grappling with the aftermath of Clara's departure. My son and his wife are heartbroken, feeling betrayed and deceived. I, on the other hand, am filled with a deep sense of guilt. I feel responsible for introducing Clara to our lives. The police are now involved, and although there is no news yet, the situation does not look promising. We're back to square one, and the future looks bleaker than ever. The dream of having a grandchild seems like a distant mirage, and what's left is a family torn apart by deceit and an unhealed wound. Despite the despair, we're trying to hold each other up, to mend the broken pieces. For now, all we can do is hope and pray for better days. Now for a few comments before the next update. 1. Not the idiot. It seems like Clara brought a lot of negative energy into the household, and it's understandable that it would cause tension and discomfort. While it's unfortunate that things escalated to the point where the narrator found Clara with an unknown rough character, confronting her about it was necessary. It's important to prioritize the safety and well-being of the family. The discovery of hidden cash and Clara's sudden disappearance only adds to the suspicion and betrayal felt by the family. It's completely understandable that they would involve the police in order to find answers and seek justice. The family's efforts to support each other during this difficult time show their resilience and determination to move forward. 2. Not the idiot. The situation with Clara sounds incredibly challenging, and it's unfortunate that it escalated to the point where she felt the need to apologize and disappear. It's understandable that the family would feel heartbroken and betrayed, especially after discovering the large sum of hidden cash in her room. Involving the police is a logical step to take in order to find answers and bring closure to this situation. It's commendable that the family is trying to support each other during this difficult time, as it's crucial to lean on loved ones for strength and hope for better days ahead. 3. You're the idiot. While it's understandable that the family feels heartbroken and betrayed by Clara's sudden disappearance and the discovery of hidden cash, it's important to consider Clara's perspective as well. It's possible that she had her reasons for taking offense to the comment about her smoking habit and for bringing an unknown rough character into the house. Confronting her may not have led to a resolution because there might have been deeper underlying issues that needed to be addressed. Instead of immediately involving the police, the family could have tried to have an open and empathetic conversation with Clara to better understand her actions and potentially find a way to reconcile. It's crucial to consider all perspectives before passing judgment. Now for the fourth update. The last month has been a whirlwind. With Clara's sudden disappearance and the ongoing investigation, our lives have been anything but normal. The police have been largely unhelpful, offering little more than vague updates and empty promises. We tried contacting Clara's family, but it appears she had cut ties with them long before she came into our lives. They had no idea she even agreed to be a surrogate, and were just as shocked as we were. In their eyes, Clara was just a rebellious daughter who'd left home years ago. The situation took a turn for the worse when we discovered that Clara had a criminal record. Apparently she'd been involved in a couple of fraud cases, which she'd neglected to mention during our initial conversations. The agency we used to find Clara had clearly failed to do a thorough background check, and now they're facing a lawsuit. Adding to the drama was the discovery of Clara's connection to the rough character we'd seen her with before she disappeared. He's a known con man who's been involved in a number of scams. The police believe that the two of them were working together, and that the whole surrogacy arrangement was just an elaborate ruse to extract money from us. Our son and daughter-in-law are absolutely devastated. They've been through so much already, and this has just added to their pain. They've been considering other options, adoption, IVF, despite their initial reservations. They're determined not to let this experience deter them from their dream of becoming parents. As for me, I'm just trying to hold the family together. This situation has tested us in ways we never imagined, and the strain is certainly showing. There's been more than a few heated arguments between us, mostly about how we got into this mess and how we're going to get out of it. But through it all, we're managing to stick together, supporting each other through this nightmare. I've also been grappling with feelings of guilt. I can't help but feel that I played a role in all this. I was the one who introduced Clara to the family. I was the one who encouraged them to trust her. Now I just feel like a fool for not seeing through her lies sooner. But the saga continues. Clara is still at large, and we're left to pick up the pieces. I just hope that one day we'll be able to put all this behind us and move on. But for now, we're just trying to get through each day, hoping for a brighter tomorrow. Now, for the final comments. Not the idiot. It's understandable that you feel guilty for introducing Clara as a surrogate, but it's important to remember that you couldn't have predicted her sudden disappearance, or her criminal record. You were simply trying to help your son and daughter-in-law fulfill their dream of becoming parents. It's unfortunate that the police haven't been helpful in finding Clara, but it's not your fault. You're doing your best to hold the family together during this difficult time, and that's commendable. Hopefully Clara will be found soon and your family can begin to heal. You're the idiot. While it's unfortunate that Clara disappeared and had a criminal record, you should have done a more thorough background check before introducing her as a surrogate. It's your responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of your son and daughter-in-law, especially when it comes to something as important as starting a family. Your lack of due diligence has caused unnecessary turmoil and heated arguments within the family. Moving forward, it's important to learn from this mistake and be more cautious in the future. You're the idiot. I understand that you feel guilty for introducing Clara as a surrogate and that you're trying to hold the family together amidst the chaos. However, it's important to acknowledge your role in this situation. By not fully vetting Clara before involving her in such a significant decision, you've put your son and daughter-in-law at risk. It's crucial to prioritize their safety and well-being over any personal guilt you may be experiencing. Moving forward, it's essential to learn from this experience and take more precautions when making important decisions that affect the entire family. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.